WhiskyJason here, whiskey from the viewpoint of an American over here in Germany, tasting rare and exotic whiskeys. And today I have a woozy for you. This is a Sherry Cask. Look at this. These should be wings here. You have the lady. It looks a little bit like the owner of WWW IrIsh EYS.de, DE for Deutschland, Germany, Mareike Spitzer, and she's flying in a cask. And this is her third Sherry Cask edition. Now, I'm going to rant for a tiny little minute. I dislike these type of boxes. They don't fit on my shelves. They're too big, and what do I do with them afterwards? I have to throw them away. I don't have a stove anymore, of a wood oven, a wood stove to burn them. So my suggestion would be, if you do offer, this stuff also just drives me crazy, all right? If you do offer little eccentric type of boxes like that, please offer the option to opt out. Saves a little bit of money, maybe have a €2 decrease in price, as well as maybe even helps the environment. Who knows? Ooh. And I just dislike them anyways. To use the words of Roy from Aquavite, the first thing he does is he gets his bottles, he takes them out of the boxes and throws away the boxes. To put the bottles on the shelves, and I basically do a lot of the same as well. So what do we have here? We have a single cask edition for the 10th anniversary of IrIsh-Whiskies.de. So this is the third Sherry Cask. So Mareike Spitzer has had, I think, 8 Black Rocks, which are all bourbon cask matured, cask strength Irish whiskeys. They could be a single malt or they could be a single grain. And then she decided a couple of years ago, last year basically, might have been 2019, to say, hey, we need something also with some finishes. So she's following the general trend of the whiskey community. And so it's always cask strength, it's always single cask, and it could be a finish. She has a rum finish, and this is a Pedro Jimenez, a PX finish. So 3 years, Irish whiskey, cask strength, 59.5% from GND, Great Northern Distilleries up there. And 3 years in an ex-bourbon barrel and 2 years in an ex-Pedro Jimenez cask. Now, were they both first fill? I don't know. That's also something that I think is kind of interesting here. What does it say here? First of all, it was stored for 3 years in a bourbon cask, and then after that, it received a 10-year-old finish in an ex-Pedro Jimenez cask. So, what am I going to compare it to? It's German whiskey. Why? Well, it's a Pedro Jimenez cask. It's cask strength. It's a single cask. I don't have very many cask strengths Pedro Jimenez things from Scotland here at the moment. That's not peated. And so St. Killian actually has a cooperation with Great Northern Distillers. They have something called Bud Spencer whiskey. So if you ever watched some of those old Italian westerns, there was Terence Hill and Bud Spencer. And Bud Spencer is a big name over here still. It's like the Wayne. Bruce Wayne is why I don't want to say that. Okay, the name is John Wayne. I don't want to insult anybody, but just as famous as John Wayne is in America as a cowboy, the Bud Spencer is just as famous in Germany for being from those Italian westerns. He was also just as famous. And so they ran out of spirit in Germany, basically. They were overruled by their own success, and now they have a cooperation with the Great Northern Distillers, where they use 83% of Great Northern, and they use 17% of their own stock, and they create the next Bud Spencer, which is an weird, interesting way to do things. Now, this is a 100% German-made single malt. Now, the malt does come from Scotland, and they do use four-side pot stills, but they are in Germany. And so sometimes I say they're making single malt just like Scotland, but instead in Germany. 4 years Full maturation Pedro Jimenez cask. I'm at, after that time, 56.1%. Here I'm at 58.5%, 59.5%. So if I have not mentioned yet, I don't think I did it, Whiskybase number 190064, 75 euros, 70 euros for the 0.5 bottling over here. Full maturation, 3 years ex-bourbon, 2 years ex-Pedro Jimenez. On the nose, nice. It doesn't blow me away, but it intrigues me. So I do get those dark fruits. I do get those sweet almond moment. I do get a little bit of roasted barley here. I do get a tiny little bit of that biscotto. Biscotto is a Italian almond biscuit originated in the Tuscan city of Prato. It's twice baked, it's oblong shaped, it's dry, it's crunchy, and you can dip it into a drink if you need to. All right. And so I'm a little bit of what I'm getting there. Other people would say marzipan. All right, so let's try it. It is 59.5%, so I'm going to nip and then I'm going to use water afterwards. Wow, that's good. That's almost like the optimal balance between that bourbon cask maturation with that Irish whiskey. It's like a lemon pudding with a dry fruit. You have your plums, you have your blackberries, you have your raspberries, you have a little bit of blueberries on there, all mixed together with a little bit of that sauce on top of it. That's very good. And the finish goes on and on and on and on. A little bit of water actually opens this whiskey up. Now, no, not everyone needs it, but hey, 59.5% is a little bit too much for me. But that's good. Let's go move on here. Dark chocolate, sherry notes, those dark fruits, a little bit of a roasted hazelnut here. Now, Mareike Spitzer herself said, I'm going to try to quote here, I normally do not like sherry finishes. That's why this great result is, for me, a further milestone. Very, very nice. Graham cracker crust, orange peel, well balanced. The 5 years do not show themselves. I bet if I gave someone a blind sample of this, they would say it's a 12 to 14-year-old single malt sherry finished single malt scotch. I'm going to use a word that I didn't actually use in my German video. I would actually put it closer to Glenrothes than I would to anything else I've tried from Ireland. I've had some Glenrothes that are very, very nice. That orange peel moment, that cherry moment in there. And this goes along that category. Well done. Well done. I'm going to give this a B+. Ta-da! Now, the only problem is this is a single cask. There are 279 bottles of that. They actually made, I think, 200 and some boxes of these, unfortunately. My personal opinion. But the whiskey here is that perfect balance of the bourbon and the Pedro Jimenez, the PX. Very, very well done. I think the price is actually also good. I'm going to give this a C+ for the value for money. Now, not because I divided the 75 divided by 5 years. I'm not doing the year per euro amount. I'm doing the flavor divided by the price amount. I seldom in the last year have had a 70, 80 euro whiskey that has delivered this amount of flavor. This balance, this nice, this absolutely complexity with a long finish. Therefore, I'm actually, a C+ for value for money and a B+ for taste. Nice. Now, I do know that Marijke sends bottles to Ireland. I do know she's sent to other countries of the world. So if you ask her nicely, www.irish-whiskies.de, and if she still has some bottles left, she might actually be able to send you something as well. Who knows? All right, going over to St. Killian real quick. This was a hand fill. This was a distillery only. They now have a new cask they're using, so it's no longer there. All the bottles have been sold, but still, it's so much syrupier, and there's so much more of a wood moment. I'm actually almost kind of thinking, am I sure that's American oak? And it seems a tiny, tiny bit younger, 4 versus 5. As I said, I'd put this between 12 and 14 years on the blind palate. I'm not sure if this was actually a barrel that was reduced in size. Kind of feels like it. Let's see here. It says, no, it has no information whatsoever. I'm sorry. It's an PX Sherry PX. It's cask number 1282, but it doesn't say how many bottles. It doesn't say what the cask is. We just don't know. Nope. But it does feel like it's a turbo maturation in a smaller cask. It's syrupier. I've already said that. It's more. This has a great viscosity. This is almost a little too thick. It's not something I'm going to go back to time and time again. It's a little bit like, oh, it's almost like a pecan pie, like fudge. I don't know about you, but if you have fudge, my mom's and my grandmother's she's no longer alive, but my mom's fudge is so rich that you can eat 2 pieces and that's it. It's like almost like a chewy brownie as well. Huh? Brownies, I can eat a few more of those. It seems younger. There's more of a tannin forwardness, and there's more of that sherry moment. It's overpowering sherry. If I wanted to drink Pedro Jimenez PX Sherry, I would go for that. If I want to drink whiskey, I want whiskey with some Pedro Jimenez, not Pedro Jimenez with some whiskey. And that's actually here very, very well balanced. I haven't had one that's been that well balanced for a very, very long time. Well done. Well done, well done, well done. B+, value for money, C+. Hey, happy to have that. I have to go out and I do own two bottles already. I might have to go buy a third, store it away, and use it in a blind tasting one day. Thank you very much for all the support. Thank you very much for all the comments. My favorite, my question of the day is, what is your favorite Pedro Jimenez cask finish or cask maturation? It could be anything. It could be something from Islay. It could be something from Ireland. It could be something from America. It could be something from Japan, anywhere. But what is your favorite bottle that has touched a Pedro Jimenez PX cask? Please write it down here. I think the last was the Cajas. That was also Pedro Jimenez here. That was an interesting thing, to say the least. I liked it more than I thought I was going to. Let's see here. Wow, that's so long ago. Can't even find it here. What else do we have with Pedro Jimenez here? I'm just looking and trying to see what things I've actually had in the last couple of months that have Pedro Jimenez. This does. I had an Annandale. I had a. So from Scotch Universe, I had the Emperor Way. That was also a German cask here. Black Noch was the 19-year-old. Pedro Jimenez was interesting. And that. So, all right. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for subscribing. Thank you very much for telling others about this crazy guy over here, reviewing and sharing his reviews of bottles you might not ever see. So sorry. All the best. See you soon. Bye-bye.